Streaming. Streaming. The ability to make a living off of gaming from the comfort of your own home. It's a pipe dream that most people don't take seriously. And even for those of us who do take it seriously, there's a whole bunch of questions that go along with starting it up. How do I get started? What do I play? How do I get in on this lucrative hobby? This video is not going to answer any of those questions. We'll go through them. We'll touch on them a little bit. But the point of this video is to reach into a broader topic. There are countless videos that do the same, like, here's the top 5 tips to get started streaming. This is not going to be another one of those videos in an ocean of just a deluge of garbage. But there are some disturbing trends popping up in my newsfeed that I think I want to talk about. And I would like to get everybody's opinion on them and see how we feel about them. Those two topics are networking and small streamer privilege. I'd like to say that before we start, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to remember that these are just my opinions. Like, they're nothing set in stone. If you guys want to have a discussion about this, we can constructively discuss it in the comments. This is a topic that warrants discussion, and I just want to start it. So, you're thinking of getting into streaming. Those 3 questions always pop up. How do I get started? What do I play? How do I get fucking paid? These answers are highly subjective. You know, bear with me on this a little bit. Number 1, how do I start? Have decent internet, have a decent PC, set a schedule. You don't need gigabit Ethernet hardwired right to your RAM. You don't need whatever Origin is peddling as a monster PC. You don't need any of that stuff. But you do want to have a consistent schedule. To put it in more traditional terms so my boomers can understand, would you watch a TV show if you didn't know the next time it was going to be on? Probably not. Number 2, what should I play? This is a fairly common, opinion, so this isn't going to be anything you guys haven't heard, but play what you want to play. I would say that, in my experience, it's a little bit harder to grow as a variety streamer just because a lot of people like to have that consistent content. A lot of people get, really sucked into one game for a little while, for a couple months, so they really just want to be all about that game for a few months, but it is very possible to grow as a variety streamer. It might be worth sacrificing some short-term gain opportunity if it means maintaining your drive and your sanity for this pet project. Number 3, how do I get fucking paid? I'm still figuring that out. I'll get back to you on that. Great, now we've got that out of the way. Why don't we get on to the real meat of this video? The real meat, the steak and potatoes. I'm seeing a lot of uptick in streamer privilege. You have viewer privilege, which is something guys like Trihex have discussed a lot, where, basically where a viewer comes in and they think that, customer's always right. So they try and make the streamer be a dancing monkey or something like that. These people are idiots. We're not even going to give them the time of day. Hopefully life gives them a reality check soon, but let's move on to streamer privilege because that's actually the topic I want to talk about. Recently, we had a clip of some idiot pretending to be a streamer, berating her chat basically, and asking them why they could watch her stream but not donate or subscribe or whatever, give her money essentially. This is a classic example of streamer entitlement. There's no self-awareness whatsoever here. The streamer doesn't realize that streaming is invariably a crowd-funded effort and you don't even lock anything behind a paywall. The base content is just out there for free and then you're just hoping that enough people like it that, they can support you. Complaining about working for free is the attitude you have if you never want to succeed in any entrepreneurial endeavor ever. If you want to grow a stream or any kind of business, you need to put in hundreds or thousands of hours of work. You might never see a livable wage. You might never grow to the extent that you want to grow, and you might fail. That's called business. The world doesn't know you shit just because you turned on your stream enough times, just because you sat there in front of your camera just chatting or gaming for enough time. And that's how streaming should be. For the most part, we all have opportunities to start a stream. All of us have decent enough PCs, the technology's getting better and cheaper, internet's getting better and cheaper. Most of us have the ability to start a stream, and there's really nothing more you can ask for other than the equality of that opportunity to start. But now we turn our focus to the smaller streamers. These are the grinders, the fledglings, the guys and girls with chips on their shoulders. They take nothing for granted because they've never had that big success, but they're hungry for it. Right? Increasingly, we're seeing disturbing trends that counter this wisdom. And this is the crux of the video. I come across tweets like this one way too frequently. Small streamer life. I just witnessed 2 amazing people have streams they deserved. Sometimes we get stuck too much into a couple of streams that we forget that there are so many more that need our attention. I challenge all of you to stop by a few more streams. Your streams will still be there. The importance of us small streamers helping as many as we can is immeasurable. You are all important. You will all get your moment. Doubt me? This is probably a well-meant tweet, but there are a few large issues with these statements. Number 1, the idea that one streamer objectively deserves views or something over another streamer. Content consumption is an inherently subjective taste. Whose content I thoroughly enjoy might not be thoroughly enjoyed by somebody else, and that's the nature of the beast. But here we are, presenting it as if the situation is, as a viewer, you have to be watching as many people as you can. Not the case. This is a clickbait statement. A click statement, if you will. Number 2, the very next sentence. Sometimes we get stuck too much in a couple of streams. We forget that there are so many more that need our attention. I'd like to share a little anecdote I had recently with a friend. A friend and I were talking about chocolate, and I mentioned that I liked white chocolate. My friend then said that they liked white chocolate as well, but they didn't eat it anymore because they'd recently been on a trip to a cacao plant in Costa Rica. The cacao plant workers, or the tour guide, or whoever was there, showing them around, had implored them to stop eating white chocolate because it was killing the cacao industry, quote unquote, because white chocolate doesn't contain any cacao. This is an example of appealing to someone's emotion. Telling a small group of people to stop consuming something because it doesn't contain the consumable that you produce, and making it seem like your industry is on its deathbed. This is going to be a harsh statement, especially to those who think compassion should be the driving force in the world, but that's business. If you're selling a product nobody wants, you're not going to sell product. You can't just guilt people into buying your product by saying that you're going to be poor or homeless if they don't buy your product. That's not how you sell a product. Or to pick an entirely random situation, it's like berating your viewers for not paying you money when you're not entitled to any money. Or it's like saying you fucking viewers who watch Twitch need to be watching as many people as you can because they need your help. This is not business. Because like it or not, streaming is just that. It's a business. It's a highly competitive and largely luck-based field, and I think we need to stop treating it as though it's some sort of never-ending gold rush with an infinite supply of money. Just because you try at something, especially something entrepreneurially inclined, does not mean you're going to succeed. It also doesn't mean that you should not try or stop trying ever if this is your passion, but sitting around whinging about how the world owes you shit or how about you're working for free is never going to lead to your success. If you're going to get into streaming, you need to understand that you're guaranteed nothing. You might never blow up. You might put in thousands of hours of work and get nothing out of it, and every dollar you make is something that you earned, and it was not something to which you were entitled just because you turned on your stream for enough hours. So, having literally deflated everyone's tires about the subject, you might be asking, why the hell would I ever get into streaming? It's the same reason anybody goes into any kind of business that offers a good or a service. You think you have something unique that stands out amongst the competition. Some new form of entertainment, maybe you have a new way of streaming, your unique sense of humor, your ability to play video games, your unique persona, your way of looking at the game, your strategy, your education level. There's so many things. I mean, maybe you're just hot and people online are thirsty. Can't knock a homie's hustle. This isn't an exhaustive list by any stretch of the imagination, but if you look at a lot of the established streamers who have, quote unquote made it, they generally will possess one or more of these qualities. But an oft-discussed quality that most entrepreneurs have that I left off the table until now because I feel like it warrants further discussion, as I said at the beginning of the video, I hope you were paying attention, is networking. So, what is networking? Well, dictionary.zip.aus defines networking as the act of establishing a network. They asked me for my billing info too. More generally, oh, my identity just got stolen. More generally, it's more the way you interact with people and expand your social or professional web in your chosen field, or just in general. Networking in streaming can mean like going to meetups, doing collaborations, rating other streamers, joining other people's chats, all that stuff. You know what it doesn't mean? It doesn't mean retweeting bots to try and get followers, spamming comments on people's Instagram asking for followers. It doesn't mean spam retweeting everybody who's into the same game as you. Networking events can be a really great opportunity to meet new people. It's kind of like dating. You might not meet the right person. Like you can go to a place where everybody's looking for the same thing, but you might not come out finding somebody who clicks with you. And this is where we veer like pretty heavily into subjective territory. I mean, it's kind of been the case for the whole video, but now especially like bears repeating. I think the popular concept of networking is a little bit too broad, at least the way it's taught or preached online. I don't think it works. I think it should be treated as a framework, not so much a Bible. It's something that you should sort of build off of, and it's sort of a bare bonesy approach that you need to fill in for yourself. It's not some secret sauce that guarantees you growth or more viewers. Branching out, trying to meet new people, rating folks to spread the love, these are all great ideas, but none of them are ever going to be the exact reason you blow up. You shouldn't retweet, reblog, promote, otherwise get involved with somebody just because they're into the same game as you or they're the same size streamer as you. That's not a valid reason. It's a meaningless interaction, and if you keep doing that and you keep spamming all these social media posts and everything like that, it's just going to fade into the white noise of everybody's newsfeed as their brain sort of, filters out the excess stimulus. We kind of view networking as this you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours cure-all where everybody wins and everybody gets bigger all the time. And I think we need to sort of dispense with that view a little bit. I think it needs to be treated more like every interpersonal relationship in that it's more quality over quantity. The quality of the relationship is way more important than the quantity of people who will blindly retweet all your stuff for the sake of hoping their good karma gets rewarded. I have very few friends in the content creation circle. My networking is legendarily atrocious. I've said this before, but the people I have met, I've met them in organic ways. My boy Pikminnicus and I were introduced through a mutual friend who happens to be my OG subscriber. Most of you know who he is. I'm not going to say his name. I'm sure he's going to comment about it. I don't want to reveal one of the Derp King's original identity. Forgive me, sire. Pikminnicus and I have shared our experiences with content creation. I've asked for his advice. He's given me advice when I've asked for it. I like his energy and his vibe. We have similar senses of humor, and he's just a good dude. I like hanging around him. We support each other how we can, you know, often in quieter ways than trumpeting each other from whatever social media rooftop we can find. Dannala rated me a few months ago when I was getting into my Pokemon Nuzlocke streaming. She and I have exchanged challenge ideas to make our playthroughs more interesting. I get to test her party viewer program that she wrote in my upcoming playthrough of Sapphire, and she's helped me test my idea for viewer-generated seeds in Ocarina of Time Randomizer. We support each other how we can. It's quiet. It's not like in your face, but it's two people coming together to try and enrich their content. My point being, your networking focus shouldn't be how many people you can get to say your name in a public space. It's not about social media presence or any sort of traditional metrics like followers or views or whatever. It's about sharing experiences and ideas, bringing those two minds together to help create something that the one mind couldn't have thought of by itself. Sometimes ideas are hard to come up with alone. Alright, I've definitely ranted enough in this video. These topics have just been some that have been on my mind for a while. I wanted to try and use my experience streaming that I've had to sort of debunk what I deem to be misconceptions, but again, I want to stress this. There is no hard science on this stuff. There's no right or wrong way to do it. I'm not saying my way is right. I'm not saying everybody else's way is wrong. I mean, I did say that, but again, it's just an opinion. You disagreeing or agreeing with me is secondary to more you exposing yourself to a new perspective. You might not 100% agree with me. That's totally fine. I want people to sort of think about this stuff in different ways. I don't want people to get trapped into like, oh, well, I saw this on 3 different websites, so this must be the way it is. I want people to be like, oh, I want to think about what works for me. I don't want to tire iron myself into something where I don't feel comfortable. Network in your own way. Stream in your own way. It's very much a personal experience, and you have to believe in what you're doing in order to succeed. We won't all succeed, and it's important to recognize that, but at least we can equip ourselves for the challenges that we're all going to face day to day. Thank you for watching.